Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and today I'm going to be joined by my dad, where we give you a preview of this year's Indianapolis 500, and you know us, we talk about all kinds of random shit, so, you know, we'll go from there, but let's go ahead and jump right into that now. And I'm joined on the phone by my dad, Jim. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Okay.
How about that? I'm okay.
Okay.
That's nice. I'm doing well. I have no complaints that anybody gives a shit about, so I'm fine.
Well, that's good. That's good. It's I'm okay as well. We've got another round of storms rolling through here later on today. Which, before we get too far into this, I do want to thank everybody who reached out and inquired if I was okay after the tornado hit St. Louis. I don't live actually in St. Louis. I live like 15 minutes to the east in Illinois of St. Louis. And
according to Sean, you live in East St. Louis.
Yeah, fuck Sean.
Yeah, somebody needs to correct his geography.
That is a very specific area, and
nobody lives there.
No. I mean, some people, but not me.
No, they don't even live.
Nah,
they're just there.
So yeah,
That's
so no.
Sad.
I want to point it out. I don't live in East St. Louis. I live east of St. Louis. I don't live in East St. Louis. But when the tornado crossed the river, it skewed north, and it went north of me, and that was that. But a lot of really bad damage in St. Louis with that.
Forest Park got hit. And see, what happened also is when the storm came into your area, usually big storms like that, and I've told you this before, son, usually big storms don't hit large metropolitan areas because what's known as a heat dome.
Yeah.
When you have a large population of people and a lot of automobiles, they emit heat. And that heat dome actually takes that front and breaks it. And that's what actually, it hit St. Louis. But this front bifurcated, and the remainder of the storms went south through southern Illinois and south of me, about an hour and a half, maybe south of here.
And they were pretty bad, too.
We had 11 tornadoes go through the southern part of the state.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't what St. Louis hit, but there was some footage. Those are some big bastards. So, and then the tornadoes continued on down into Kentucky, and you know that story. And unfortunately, several people got killed down there. It was ugly. But
Marion, Illinois, you know, the Smoking Butts and Tapping Ash guys, you know, they're down right in that area. And Marion, Illinois got smoked pretty hard with that stuff, too. But no, the one that hit St. Louis, they determined was an EF3. And that's a big damn tornado, you know?
That's a big, it's like I've told you before, tornadoes scare the shit out of me. I mean, I've been through a few hurricanes when we lived in Florida. And a hurricane, they give you a week's notice. You know it's coming. You see them spinning off of the tip of Africa, and you see them coming through the Caribbean, and you know they're coming, and you get prepared. And if you're not prepared when it hits, it's your own damn fault. A tornado, how many minutes warning do you get with a tornado?
Got like no time. Shit.
Yeah, 5 if you're lucky.
There were people at the zoo. There were reports about visitors at the zoo that had to huddle in gift shops and restaurants and things like that. Right. And you know, the tornado, the base of the tornado I read somewhere was like 3 miles wide, and the one edge skirted the zoo and caused a lot of tree damage there. But you know. Thankfully, no animal. Some butterflies. It did hit the butterfly enclosure, and some butterflies did escape. They caught the majority and put them in another butterfly facility for safekeeping. But
now we have poisonous butterflies.
I was going to say now we've got like the South African poisonous blue butterfly flying around or something.
Don't touch it, honey.
Some bird's going to eat it and mutate and start killing all of us or something. It's going to be a whole thing, but.
All right, you just went dark. Just went dark.
Hey, you know, this is the kind of stuff you got to worry about. But
I know. Well, yeah, we're supposed to see storms tomorrow, so whatever you get there, stop them.
Yeah, well,
so they don't come here.
I just hope they don't decide to go all Wizard of Oz-ish on us again today.
Yeah.
But,
well,
anyway, let's smoke a cigar because you know this is kind of a cigar podcast. But anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody for checking in and to let everybody know I'm okay. Everything's fine. So we are, ironically, smoking the same thing. because
not by accident.
Well, no, you told me what you were going to smoke, and I'm like, I have that.
Oh shit, I'll do that.
Yeah,
it's the Ken Claridge school of pot. What are you smoking, Ken? Do we have to smoke the same damn thing? Well, I think it'd be nice.
Yeah, and then you and I did, and he smoked a different one because he had to show off that he had this anniversary one that you and I didn't have.
Right. Yeah. Well, the poor dumb bastard is being schlepped to Greece right now. So,
well,
have fun, Ken.
Well, while Ken,
as if a 2-week transatlantic cruise isn't bad enough, then his wife tacks another entire week to his ass, and they're flying into Greece to hang out for a week. It's like, you think he's ever going to come back to the shop?
It's a long trip. That's all I got to say.
Is.
And I would like. I mean, I'm sure it's fun seeing all these places, but I love my bed. It's like at some point you just want to come home and relax. But I don't know.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Yeah, that's just you. I don't disagree. All right, hey, moving on.
We're smoking the Villiger Cuellar Black Forrest. It's the Robusto, 48 by 5.
The Maduro Barusto.
Yes. And it features a dark and rugged San Andreas wrapper leaf covering a hardy core of premium Dominican long filler tobaccos matured for a maximum smoothness. Savor a medium to full-bodied profile of leather, coffee bean, pepper, and earth throughout a woody, charry finish with a hint of sweetness. It's a nice description. I thought it was a good description. I had to.
It tastes like tobacco and smells like smoke.
There you go.
Welcome to my experience.
Welcome to yours. All right. Well, it's time to cut the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family-owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. So head on over to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you, and remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar. And I didn't have any schmuckus in my cutter that time. That was good. I was worried I was going to nuke myself with that. But anyway, all right. Well, while we light the cigar, let's hear the greatest commercial you've ever heard.
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so, they can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat.
Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars use authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard.
Yeah.
I always feel like if they have to tell you that it is, maybe it's not.
Oh, the thing that I'm always impressed with when I hear that song is that Mr. Jonathan can sing using only 1.5 notes. It's like flat, and that's it. Every now and then you can tell that he's making an inhale or a breath, and that changes it slightly. But yeah, he doesn't hit every note.
I mean, everybody says he's a good dancer. I don't think anybody has ever professed that he's a good singer.
It's like saying you have a great face for radio. I mean,
there you go.
You know, he has a great personality. Oh, funny.
Anyway, so I asked you on
because you're desperate. Because nobody good was available.
I'm not.
You had no idea.
No.
I think I'll just call the old man.
No,
he's not doing anything. He's just sitting around.
I mean, it's not quite that.
Yeah, right.
No. So this is coming out on Tuesday. This upcoming weekend is Memorial Day weekend, And while Memorial Day weekend means many things to many people, one thing it means is the Indy 500. And I figured that we would have you on for now, at least our second annual Indy 500 preview episode where we talk about the race. Because some people, this might be the only race they catch.
A lot of people, this is the only one they catch.
Yeah. So it's like this is a good
and a lot of people are
opportunity
catching it. Yeah. Well, this is a big one this year. The 2016 race was the 100th, and it was a sellout. And when I say it's a sellout, and I know a lot of your listeners have never seen the place, when you see the Speedway, your first reaction is, "Damn, that's a lot bigger than I thought it was."
No, it's a massive complex.
Oh, it's freaking huge.
Well,
I think,
so just what would you say from the gate that we kind of walk into the complex at, from the outside to our seats? What would you say, 2 mile?
Oh God, no. Not from the gate where we walk into our seat.
Yeah.
Our entire walk we park outside of the Speedway. We park in a neighborhood east of the Speedway is a golf course.
Yeah.
And east of the golf course is where we park. So from our parking spot to our seat is about 1.75 miles, maybe 1.5 miles.
Okay.
From the gate entrance to our seat is probably well, you got to realize something. We kind of cut through the ground, you angle, and
we do kind of cut around. Yeah.
It's at least a half a mile. I think I measured it one time on Google Maps, but it's at least a half a mile to get from the gate to where we get to our seats. But no, this thing is huge. You can put Vatican City, ballparks, Churchill Downs. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 different large venues. Taj Mahal, they can all fit in it at one time.
Wow.
So when I'm talking big, I'm talking like, taking Wrigley Field and the Taj Mahal and Churchill Downs and all of that. And Vatican City is a 1/4 mile square. All of that inside the track. So that's how big this damn thing is.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the big one. In 2016, it was a sellout. And when they say sellout, that means you got I think I heard recently, 238,000 seats in the grandstands.
Okay.
But then another 120 something thousand general admission tickets where people just stand around on the grass inside the track in an area called the Snake Pit. Exactly. And inside without a seat. Okay. So you've got about easily 350,000 bodies running around in this place. And this year it's a sellout again. They announced that last week, one day, that when they announced that there were fewer than 5,000 seats remaining and they had orders flying in. So for some reason, IndyCar is catching fire again, which is good. I'm excited about seeing that for them. But
so let me.
So it's going to be busy this year. It's going to be it's already a sellout this year. Roughly, it's going to be 350,000 people will be in attendance at one time there.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. When the race occurs, it's the largest city in the state of Indiana.
Oh, okay. Because Speedway is a city. It's not in Indiana. The Speedway itself is not in Indianapolis. It's in the city of Speedway.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, what were you going to ask?
So IndyCar moved to Fox this year, correct?
Yeah. Huh?
You think that has anything to do with it? You think
Yes.
Fox is pushing it a little bit better on their channels and maybe getting a little bit more eyeballs on it?
Without a doubt.
Because NBC had it prior.
Yeah. And NBC screwed the pooch.
Well, they kind of buried it.
Well, what they kind of did is they pushed some of it over to their pay system called Peacock. Which is bullshit. I'm not going to pay this. I've told you before. I don't pay more I'm already paying more to Comcast and Xfinity for lousy service. Why do I want to pay more? Mm-hmm. Well, if you're telling me it's a broadcast on the national network and then you're going to charge me extra to watch something that last week was on NBC, but this week it's on Peacock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch your ratings plunge. And that's what they did, is they screwed that up. Well, Fox came in there and they're giving it great airplay. They're advertising the damn thing on Fox News Network, on all the Fox local network. The local Fox network is going crazy nuts covering this race more than the NBC network did.
Interesting.
So I think that you may have hit on some of the difference. I think there is some factor of that increasing attention. I think the other thing too is there's a little cross contamination because Formula One has gotten very popular here in the States. You got three F1 races now between Miami, Austin, Texas, and Las Vegas. Well, a ticket to Miami is like $750 to $1,000 for general admission, from what I recall reading. Well, who the hell can afford that on a regular day? You got to fly to Miami, you got to stay down there, and it's expensive, and not everybody can afford that. Well, they like the racing because they had driven to whatever it is. Netflix, I think, did a TV show, a series on Formula One, and that garnered an awful lot of eyeballs. Well, I think a lot of people saw that and, well, shit, I can't afford to go to that. I mean, I went to Formula One races when they were here at the Speedway back around 2000, 2001, back when Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello and those guys were racing. And it was amazing to me because you see people there and they fly in from all around the world to go to Formula One races, and they're well dressed and they're drinking champagne and they bring baskets of fine cheeses, and it's a whole different crowd. Well, not everybody can afford that.
Yeah.
But they like racing, and they found that they liked watching open wheel racing. And I think a lot of people went, well, if I can't do Formula One, IndyCar is the U.S. alternative. It's affordable and it's nearby. We run 20 some odd races here in the States, and people just kind of substituted one interest with IndyCar, and they're finding that it's more competitive and it's just as fun.
Well, and there are some crossover drivers as well.
Well,
or at least there was in a few years.
Well, yeah, you have Marcus Ericsson. He won the Indy 500 a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Felix Rosenquist was an F1 driver. The kid, in fact, let's talk about him. There's a rookie this year, won the pole position yesterday. Thank God for Robert Schwartzman. I mean, may the Schwartz be with you. Of the most unlikeliest names, you got all these elaborate names of drivers, and they sound powerful. Will Power and Stingray Rob, and then you have Robert Schwartzman. And Robert Schwartzman is, 20-something years old, born in Israel. So he's the first Israeli driver to win the pole. He bumped off Takuma Sato from Japan, who's a two-time IndyCar winner. Indy 500 winner, rather. Schwartzman came yesterday and just did it. Stunned himself. The team, Prema Racing, is new to the States. They built their headquarters, a couple of miles away from where I am right now, here in Fishers, Indiana, for a U.S. function. So Prema Racing is new to IndyCar this year. Robert Schwartzman is new to IndyCar. He was a F2 driver. He was a backup driver in Formula One for Ferrari.
Okay.
So there you've got this young man who has driven Formula One. He drove supercars. He drove other races globally. But what's ironic is this is the first time he's ever been on an oval. He's never raced an oval race. and he wins the friggin' pole. So he's starting right up front. And his first time racing a real race on an oval is the Indy 500. Now, will he win? Yeah, I bet he's passed before he gets to turn one. I mean, let's be honest. Takuma Sato is not exactly a slouch, and Pato O'Ward is starting in third position on the first row. There's three abreast.
Okay.
So you've got Pato O'Ward, who's done immensely well the last few. It was heartbreaking last year how he lost. He sat in his car and sobbed for a few moments before he got out because it was so close. But you got two really seasoned drivers. And then you have Robert Schwartzman, who's going to be all googly-eyed because he's never seen anything like this. The whole pomp and circumstance of race day. You know what I'm talking about.
I actually talked with Noah on a previous episode about that just at the Grand Prix, and that's nothing in comparison to the 500.
Yeah, I don't care who's president. When you sit in that stands, and they play God Bless America, and they've got the Star Spangled Banner, and the jets fly over, and even when back home in Indiana, it's like the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
They play my old Kentucky home. Everybody sings along, Same thing here, as you well know. They play back home in Indiana, and there are people with tears in their eyes.
Yep.
I mean, that's like our Star Spangled Banner here in this state. And they have all of the armed services there. They march. A lot of the soldiers will march down the speedway, and people stand and applaud them. And this kid has never seen a build up to a race as he's going to see this year. And he's just going to stand there and go, "Holy me Jesus."
Well, and that's not even counting the fact that you're going to have, like, I don't know, as you just pointed out, like 300 and something thousand people all there making noise and cheering along and singing along and doing everything else. I mean, that's,
and I've heard where drivers have said that they can see people as they're buzzing around this friggin' track at 230 mile an hour. They can actually see people sitting in the stands, and they can hear the fans screaming. And they've got earplugs in, they've got a helmet on, they've got an engine screaming in in back of their head, and they can hear the fans. Huh. So that tells you how loud this thing is.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to take him a bit to settle down and figure out how to get around that track with that kind of an environment. I think it'll be fun to watch him. I hope he does well. I'd like to see the kid win. He's the first rookie since 1983 to win the pole position.
Oh, okay.
So no, this is a big deal. This is not an insignificant accomplishment in this kid's career. So God love him anyhow. I think he'll do all right.
Well, very cool. Now, I did see that there's a little bit of drama.
There's a lot of drama
going into this race.
Yeah, the way this thing works, the qualifying there's 33 cars in this race, and there were 34 people trying to get in. Well, positions 13 through 30 qualified on Saturday.
Okay.
All right. And then the fastest 12 who ran Saturday were set aside. And the fast 12, as they call them, qualified again on Sunday. Okay. So you've got positions 13 through 30 locked up. And then you have the fastest 12, but then you have the slowest 4 in this case. Mm-hmm. Well, those slow 4 go again. And on Sunday, they go for positions 31, 32, and 33.
Okay.
There is no 34, so a kid named Jacob Abel went back to Kentucky without a race.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't make it. His speed wasn't fast enough. He didn't get into the race. Marco Andretti made it, unfortunately, but that's just a personal opinion. Anyway, so you have the fastest 12. Scott McLaughlin, who races for Penske, he crashed yesterday morning in practice, and it was ugly. He slammed hard and went flying for a while.
Okay.
So his car was demolished. Well, they have backup cars, but they didn't have time to get his backup car in condition that he would be qualifying. So they immediately defaulted him to the 12th slot. Okay.
Okay.
Other guys ran. Takuma Sato ran. He was sitting on the provisional pole number 1 position for a while. Alex Palau ran. Scott Dixon, those guys, right? So anyway, you got Will Power and Joseph Newgarden, the 2 other Penske cars. They were getting ready to pull Will Power out to run, and the cars are inspected every day. Before they hit the track, there's IndyCar inspection occurs. And they inspected the cars on Saturday, and they were fine. They sent them out. On Sunday, Will Power was getting ready to go out, and they pulled him back. And they announced that Joseph Newgarden, his car failed inspection, and they looked at Will Power's, and his failed it as well. What's interesting is Scott McLaughlin's car, who crashed that morning, didn't. His car was fine. And what they found was there's a thing called an attenuator.
Okay.
And it's a section in the back of the car where 2 pieces are basically bolted together. And if the car it's a safety function. If the car crashes, and a lot of times, when you're buzzing around that track at 200 and something miles an hour, the ass end of the car gets loose and this whips around. Mm-hmm. And that back end of the car is what goes into the wall. All right. If you ever watch the crashes, typically you'll see the back end of the car whipping around.
Okay.
Well, the attenuator is that section where it's two pieces of whatever material, probably carbon fiber, bolted together. It's not supposed to be glued, welded, affixed. And when the car crashes into the wall, the 200 crashes mile an hour, that breaks.
Okay.
And it absorbs the concussion, protecting the driver, obviously. All right. The more the car breaks apart, the less energy is absorbed by the driver.
Okay.
Follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So what they found on Will Power and Joseph Newgarden's car was the attenuator placed those two pieces together on that one side of the car that were supposed to be bolted together. They were actually some material like glue or some that fixed them together and filled in that gap, that little seal between those two pieces. That's a violation. That's against the rules.
Why would you want to do that though?
Don't know. I can't imagine it gives you any kind of a better advantage in speed.
Well,
I mean,
it based off what you're saying, it decreases the safety component for the driver.
Right.
So like for you to take that risk to the driver, you would think there would be an obvious benefit to doing it in terms of speed or advantage. And if there's none, then what's the point?
Yeah, we're talking a space of a few inches long here.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's going to give you that much of an advantage of anything. But somebody in the shop filled it in with some epoxy putty crap, and that was it. They violated the rules because according to the rules of the construction and the mechanics of the vehicle, the engineering specs, you can't do that.
So some pit crew guy right now is looking for work, is what you're saying.
Well, here's the engineering guys in Penske and Team Penske, the strategists are both booted. They're not allowed to be at the race this year. Okay. A couple of heads rolled a little bit this year, and this isn't the first time. Penske did something a year or so ago, and Tim Cindric, the president of Penske, wasn't allowed to be at the race. So what happened was they immediately said, okay, well, Scott McLaughlin is starting 12th, and Joseph Newgarden and Will Power will be 11th and 10th. And man, you should have heard the other teams last night on the news. I mean, Graham Rahall's going, they cheated. They shouldn't even be in the damn race. Jacob Abel ought to be in the race. I mean, come on, Rahal. You know, you've cheated in the past. You just didn't get caught, probably. You know, Potawal Ward, same thing. How they shouldn't be. They should be at the end of the track. They should be at the end of the pack, and that's what IndyCar announced this morning. Is they've moved everybody up, and Joseph Newgarden and Will Power are now starting 32nd and 33rd.
Okay.
They moved their cars to the end of the grid, and everybody kind of slid up just a bit, and that's their penalty. The engine and each of those two teams are being fined $100,000, I think it said, and a couple of the people are being sat on the sidelines as punishment, and this is all being investigated now as to who did what. Okay. So, but you see, here's the fact: is Roger Penske owns IndyCar and he owns the Speedway. And anytime something happens, all the other teams go, well, the bastard owns everything, you know. Well, you know, if he wouldn't have bought IndyCar, it'd be out of business by now.
I was going to say, you wouldn't have it, but...
And if he wouldn't have bought the Speedway, the restrooms down there would still look like shit. I mean, the man has put millions of dollars into cleaning up that Speedway. The best thing that happened was putting those two businesses into Roger Penske's hands because he loves it and he cares. But the spotlight is deeper on him than any other team. And that's the problem. So Joseph Newgarden was going through consecutive. He was going to try for his third consecutive win. And I don't see that being feasible from the last row.
He's got a pretty high mountain to climb now.
Which may be an amazing thing. You never rule it out, but the odds are slim.
Yeah. Well, because both he and Power have won before, so it's not like we're talking like nobodies.
Well, and here's the other thing. Keep this in mind, is their cars qualified in the Fast 12. Mm-hmm. So they were buzzing 230 mile an hour up. All right. They were at that 230 to 233 range.
So give them 10 laps and they could be in the first 5 positions before it's all said and done.
I don't know about 5, but they're certainly going to pass positions, 20 to 30 because those guys are all at like 227, 229.
Okay.
Yeah. So if everybody stays clean and there's no crashes, which, there's some rookies out there. And shit happens. I think Newgarden and Power will have a respectable race, but the odds of winning that far back,
pretty low.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever. I think the lowest. I think I heard the lowest somebody's ever won from is like 27th or 28th or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could happen, but I could win the lottery too. I'm not banking on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it'd be fun but it's gonna make for good viewing.
Okay.
Controversy. People love controversy. And this city is just full of it today. On. So yeah, everybody will be watching, and they'll be calling him cheaters again. They'll call Newgarden a cheater, and it wasn't him. The man just drives the damn car. It's the guys that put it together are the ones who did the wrong thing.
Exactly.
And if they did it right or for the right reason, wrong reason, you got to follow the rules, because not all rules make sense. And that's the sad thing about it, is you make a rule and you go, okay, you got to abide by it, whether or not it's good or bad. And that's what
I mean, I get it if it's a safety component for the drivers, I will say, I don't know. It'd be interesting to know how it makes it unsafe if those two plates are bonded together, and then in turn I'd be interested to know, is there any kind of a advantage to having those two plates bonded together? But
I can't imagine there's any speed advantage.
I wouldn't think.
None. No, and if there is, let's be honest, these guys they're measuring hundredths and tenths of a second.
Well, and when you're doing that,
really, every
little bit counts, and so theoretically, putting this Bondo or glue or whatever it happens to be on the car adds that couple of ounces or grams of extra weight. So you would think that would be a disadvantage. You'd think you wouldn't want that stuff on the car.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like I said, it's controversy, and you need that. Otherwise, it's boring.
Okay.
So anyway, it's going to be nice on Sunday. It's going to be beautiful weather. I think the temperature, depending on what local network you believe, it's either going to be a high of 65 or a high of 71.
Okay.
As you recall, our seats are inside the track, and we're overlooking the pits, and we have shade until 3:30 in the afternoon.
Beautiful.
So it ought to be a pleasant damn day, and we ought to have a really nice time.
Man,
and you're coming this year, and that makes it even more better.
It's true. And I will say, now I'm sitting here wondering, do I want shorts or do I want jeans? I think
You know what I think? No, you know what you ought to do? If you can't decide, just take a pair of jeans and cut one leg short.
There you go. Bring scissors and be able to.
You could start a whole new trend. You could be that guy.
I could make jorts right there in the grandstands.
Just what are those called? Those are half shorts. I only half give a shit, so I wear half shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah?
Oh my God.
And everybody will go, my God, that man is a fashion maven. He's the trendsetter.
He's a genius.
You'd be on television. People would be like, Jesus, man, I would be like that guy.
He's so hot right now.
They go in there and they start cutting off their one leg off of every pair of trousers they own.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can see that happen. Jerry Pulaski would do that shit. He would wear those. He would wear those.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Now you were raving about the pork kebabs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, track food wise. People ask me is the food good there? And I'm like, I don't know. We never eat it. We always bring box lunches. So
we always bring sandwiches.
Yeah. So in terms of the cuisine at the track, what do you have recommendations for people?
In terms of the cuisine, I mean, you obviously have your burgers and your fries, and the burgers are not bad. Burgers are pretty good.
Okay.
But behind the pagoda area in the main plaza, there on the north end of the pagoda is a little I don't know, stands. Like 6 or 7 lined up. And they have tenderloin sandwiches, and they have burgers and shit. And there's this one that says kebabs. And 2 years ago, I bought a kebab. I had my first kebab last year. And they have chicken kebabs and they have pork kebabs. And I think it's like $12.99.
Okay.
For a pork kebab. But the damn kebab is a wooden stick about a foot long. And there are chunks of pork skewered on this stick, and they're all bigger than a golf ball.
Okay. So it's not insignificant.
No, and it's char grilled, and it's kind of a teriyaki barbecue flavor.
Okay.
And, yeah, barbecue sauce, so you can schmutz all over it if you want to, but damn, those things are good.
All right.
Yeah, I had one when I went down for practice for the Grand Prix again. Um, so yeah, if anybody is going to be at the race, hit the kebabs. Just get a chicken one and
And call
ask
the
the pulp.
hotline and let me know how
Give
they are.
give us a response. I've never had a chicken kebab. I want to that because the pork one's too good. It's hard. It's like when you go someplace, you go, I like that, and you always, well, that looks good too, but you always get that
Especially
thing
if
you
you
like,
don't go there frequently enough that you're
right?
like, I
You
can
always get
take
the same thing.
I can take the gamble and get something different because I'm going to be back here 2 days from now, and I can just get what I like if I don't like it, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
It's like there's a restaurant down on the beach down in Fort Lauderdale, down by Lauderdale by the sea, for commercial, I think it was. Aruba Beach Cafe.
Yeah.
We took you there
I was
many
say I
years ago,
remember that place. Yeah.
and it's a wonderful little restaurant. It's right on the beach. You hang out, and they've got great food. But every time I go, I always get the Aruba burger. It's got the teriyaki and the grilled
And the
pineapple.
pineapple. Yes.
It's
I
like
do remember that one.
The grilled mahi sandwich, the grilled grouper. That's what the grilled grouper sandwich. I took a few bites one time. Wonderful. But if you ever go to Aruba Beach Cafe, screw all that other stuff. Just get the Aruba burger and thank me later. But that's an example. It's like
Yeah.
you go someplace. That's what I want.
That's what you
Oh
get.
yeah, everything else is good, but that's that thing.
Okay.
Pork kebab at the track.
All right.
So yeah, we'll be doing box lunches. So you'll be kebabless. You'll be kebabless.
Kebabless. That's all right.
Sucks to be you.
It does.
So
well,
yeah, so
okay.
that's it. It's going to be a good race. The speeds are fast. It's going to be a sellout. It's going to be exciting, and we're going to have a great time.
Well, cool. I'm looking forward to it. And anybody who's watching, they can watch it on Fox. I'm not getting any promotion from IndyCar from this, so whatever. If IndyCar wants to promote or sponsor,
yeah, right.
we can talk about that. But
we'll slide you in somewhere.
There you go.
And look for us because we'll wave if you look on TV, we'll wave. You'll see us.
Yeah, say we'll be there. I'll have I could pack the pulpit hat. I have my pulpit hat, so I can wear my pulpit hat. Anyway, whatever.
Well, you have a new Speedway hat.
I do. I actually have it right here because I had thought like, oh, should I wear the hat? But I'm like, no, I opted not to. But for those of you on the YouTubes and the Rumbles, that's the fancy new hat that I got. So,
Ooh.
I know, right? It's nice. It's nice. It has that 50s kind of vibe to it, It's nice. Anyway.
That's good.
Well, cool. So what else is going on? Like I said, Memorial Day weekend coming up. There's all kinds of stuff happening.
Yeah, stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Where do I begin? Well, here let's touch on something, and let's you're aware of this.
Yes.
So it's kind of a flashback to last fall. As you know, I have a neighbor.
You do.
I have two neighbors, unfortunately.
I was you have one on each side.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, but the one neighbor last summer came by and asked me to sign a document that he was going to put a pool in his backyard, as you remember that.
Yep.
And I didn't want to be that guy because everybody else has signed the damn thing. So I signed it, but I overlooked a very important, critical question. And I'm going to put this out there as a public service announcement to all of your listeners and viewers.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever have a neighbor who is wanting to put a pool in their backyard, and if they have dogs, ask them, where's that dog going to go to the bathroom after you put your pool in and it takes up the entire backyard?
Yeah.
That's a critical component that unfortunately never crossed my mind at the time, because my neighbor had, and I underline had, not has, had two dogs.
Yeah, there's only one now.
He had an old stupid chocolate lab that would bark ferociously at people but then run away. And he had a little black German Shepherd. And this was his trained guard dog. Well, last October, as you recollect, I walked around the side of my house. I was looking at my sprinkler heads to make sure they all went down before the grass got cut. And as I came around the side of the house, their black German Shepherd was in my backyard pissing on one of my trees. And she was standing there watching it, she meaning the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a mean, aggressive, trained attack dog. As I found out when he bit me in the side of my abdomen, leaving 8 puncture marks.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. I watched it. You sent me the security camera footage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm standing there. I was literally standing there talking to her, saying, why is that dog marking my tree? And we're going to put a fence up and we're going to put a patio up to keep dogs and golfers out of the yard. And right when I was telling her my plans of keeping dogs out of the yard is when that thing came around my bush and nailed me in my side. And I erupted, and he came running over, my neighbor, and everything okay? I said, well, everything's not okay. Your dog just attacked me. And I said that I'm not the kind to sue people, but I'm not exactly not the kind to put a dog down. And so, well, we'll cover your medical. Well, it's a state law. You have to cover my medical bills anyway. But I went nuts and I told him, I said, that's a dangerous dog. The difference between your dog and my pistol is I have a safety on my gun. And a good trained attack or guard dog should command and react. You should be able to whistle, snap your fingers, something, and they stop.
Yeah.
And that dog never does. So I told him, I asked him, I said, what are you waiting for that dog to kill somebody? Somebody's going to be walking by and it's going to attack and kill and there's a lot of old people walking around with artificial hips in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's been it. Well, that was last October. And it dawned on me that the reason that dog was in my yard is because they don't have any backyard left. They put in a pad, they put in a deck, they put in this, they put in a hot tub, put in a patio area, they put in a pool, and that dog didn't have anywhere to go shit. And that's why he's in my backyard, and she allowed it. And they let him go back on the golf course too at the time. Let's accelerate to February. There was a woman who's a chronic walker, a very fit lady, probably on upper 40s, maybe 50.
Okay.
And she was across the street, and that dog saw her, ran across down the driveway across the street and attacked her, got her on the ground, bit her 8 times,
Jesus,
ironically, on her leg and on her arm, and ripped a chunk out of her thigh about the size of a lime.
Oh my God.
Literally chewed meat out of this poor woman's leg. So she's facing a year's worth of medical treatment, and it has to heal up a little bit before she can get plastic surgery to close the wound.
Yeah.
How she proceeds is none of my business, and I don't know. But there it was. I predicted the dog would attack somebody else, and he did. Because this dog is out of control, and because they have a pool, and he's got no yard to play in himself. They didn't have an invisible fence at the time, and this is just a mean bastard dog. The police came to my house, asked me to file a report based on her attack, and I wrote up an entire report about my incident and on and on. And they took the dog away. If anybody in Alabama is listening, if there's a little black German Shepherd in Alabama that looks like he wants to kill you, it's because my neighbor's dog was not put down. It was put down in Alabama, where it's going to be deprogrammed and put back out for adoption by the trainer in North Carolina, from what I heard.
Seriously.
How about that one? Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it's okay when you take a mean dog and you put it out of state. The problem's resolved. Anyway.
Is it run by Catholics?
Yeah, right.
Just saying, when you got the anyway.
Anyway.
Moving on.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
So my public service announcement is, if you have a neighbor who has dogs and one of them is sketchy at best, and they're putting in a pool, don't sign the approval form. Be that guy. If you're ever going to be an asshole, that's your opportunity to preserve your family's safety.
Yeah.
Don't sign the pool authority. Don't do it, because it's a headache and you don't need to get bit.
No.
Dogs need to have a yard, and when they remove the yard, they go into yours.
Well,
And the other thing is,
I'm just thinking to myself, like, with this lady getting bit, this dog that's like, what was it doing hanging outside without
it wasn't. It was up in the front. It was up in the front door, and from what I heard, it busted and popped the front door, the screen door.
Wow.
Or the storm door.
So it was like it won it out in the worst way.
Yeah, it saw her through the window.
Oh my gosh.
And when the cop came and got my police report, my incident report on it, I told him, I said, in all candor, officer, I said, if I would have heard that going on over there, I said, I would have put a 9mm in that dog's head. He goes, I would have done the same thing. Yeah. So, I mean, I would have been arrested.
Well, I was going to say, you would have been facing all kinds of problems for
discharging a firearm in city limits and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And God forbid you kill the dog. We don't like people who kill dogs.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, the owner ran across and got the dog off of her. It's the only reason it saved her.
Wow.
That dog could have gotten an artery and she would have bled.
Oh yeah.
And she hobbled to one of my other neighbors' houses. She knew the guy a few doors down and went to him for help. And he called her husband and, went to the hospital for 5 hours that day and on and on.
Oh my God.
So, but yeah, that's the whole situation with something as mundane as a neighbor that, for the most part, always kind of minded their own business. They put a pool in. And the other thing is, when they put a pool in, they put speakers in. And I had the most god-awful music blaring yesterday because her daughter was out messing around in the water. And it's like, if you have speakers in your backyard, people, please realize your neighbor doesn't need to listen to that shit.
Don't aim it at your neighbor's house. Well, in all fairness, the houses in your neighborhood are not exactly spaced far apart.
No, they're not.
I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah.
They're further apart than some neighborhoods we've lived in, but
sure. But I mean,
but it's
sound
it's
travels.
A quiet. Yeah, it's a quiet neighborhood and sound travels, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, that whole thing is just it's and I don't know where it stands. I have no idea, what's next. All I know is that dog is gone. I haven't seen the chocolate lab now, maybe one time.
Oh no!
In the last several weeks, and I don't care.
Okay.
There are a couple of other dogs in the neighborhood I learned that have attacked and bitten people, and they're still here. I learned in the little city where I live that the dog has allowed one free bite. So I was that poor bastard that was the free bite. That they didn't remove the dog because it bit me. That's nice to know.
Well, I mean, at least yours was, I mean, not that I'm diminishing yours, but
no,
but in comparison, like, I mean, can you imagine hers being the free bite?
I don't have a chunk missing. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I'd be furious if I were her and I found out that dog got one freebie and I was the freebie and I was dealing with a year's worth of rehab and surgery and everything else, you know? I mean,
well, and that's the stuff you never think about, Nicholas, is what are the dog bite laws in your area?
Yeah.
Who knew? It's like on this, they scale dog bites on a scale of 1 to 5. And my bite qualified as a 4.
Okay.
So it wasn't a nip and it wasn't 1 or 2 marked. It was 8 punctures and 4 of which were deep. So I qualified as a 4. Well, a 5 is where they maul you and can kill you.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, there's a pretty big gap between yours and hers. And if yours is a 4 and she would, it kind of feels like she should be like a 12, And
the dog should have been put down.
Yeah.
I mean, I love dogs, and you know that. But
I know.
This dog should have been put down for what he did to her.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw her. She showed me photographs of her wounds. I was like, Jesus, that had to hurt.
And I'll say this: there's something to be said about the fact that, and how do I put this? I don't want to necessarily fully blame the dog because the dog was trained to do this.
No.
The dog was trained to be a guard dog at, whatever sites and all this kind of stuff. Who brings a dog that's trained for that and tries to make it a house pet?
Right.
Like the owner has a huge culpability in this whole
Oh,
thing.
it goes right back to the people.
Yeah.
You know, the training on this dog was poor. It's like I said, they're a good trained dog. You saw them.
Yeah.
You look at police dogs. That guy snaps his finger and that dog sits.
Yep.
This dog doesn't do that.
Okay.
You know, it's like you can have garage training or you can have professional training.
Yeah.
And this was a junkyard dog trained.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So I don't blame the dog. I blame, lazy owners and bad training.
All right then.
But so that's my PSA. It's pool season. Don't sign any approvals if the person has a dog, because it's got to go somewhere. And I never even gave that a thought until after the case. It's like, damn it.
I still just think you just need a giant fence to keep the golfers, the neighbors, just everybody out.
Well, the day you were up here last weekend, for the
I know you had to go out and yell at a guy.
I went out and yelled at him. So yeah, they just wander around the yard like they under. No, I'm not part of the golf course. I live on it.
Hey,
the golf course stops over there.
You're on my property. 2 seconds. It's like,
yeah,
whoa,
right.
whoa. That's not how this works. You know? Oh, Lord.
Well, I had that private property, no trespass, please stay out sign.
Yeah.
I had that in the yard, and some son of a bitch stole that. It's missing. It's been missing all winter.
Oh, no.
So somebody stole my damn sign.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That pissed me off. So I'm thinking about having one made that says, private property, please keep your balls out of my yard.
Trespassers will be shot on sight.
So I may have that put up.
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right, then.
I know. So, yeah, there's an answer. I just haven't come up with it yet. I mean, it has to be legal. There's an answer that's legal. And I come up with a lot of answers, but that legal part is where I lack. But because I don't want Paul calling going.
We have to talk, Mr. Miller.
Yeah. I got good news and bad news. Good news is I'm not in your area. Bad news is I know somebody is, and I called.
Exactly. You're gonna be getting a visit. Oh Lord. Well, let's do this now.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. Speaking of, before we get into this, what do you think? What thoughts on the Black Forest? You've been talking a lot, and I'm sure you have a lot more cigar left than I do.
I had to relight it.
Yeah.
I've probably I'm about halfway.
It's the curse of the guest. Is you guys are talking, and I'm just sitting here smoking and listening. You know.
Yeah, it's all on me, isn't it?
Heck, yeah.
I didn't even do show prep this time. No, I like these. I mean, the way I judge cigars are different, obviously, than the way you do.
Yeah.
It has to be unique for me to get a flavor note. I judge cigars by how easy they draw.
Yeah.
How the ashes hold, and little nuancy things like that. And this is nice. I've always been impressed. I know it's a box press, and you're not a box press kind of guy.
It's a soft box press. I can tolerate it.
Oh, well, thank God for that. Huh? Because God knows we don't want your mouth and lips feeling funny.
You don't want that weird mouthfeel.
Yeah, you don't. No, this thing ashes really nice. It's holding together, and
yep.
This is on my yes list. This is a solid green, hell yeah, anytime, all the time.
Well, and for a Maduro cigar, it's not a it's a solid medium. I wouldn't put it as a bold.
Well, you can tell it's got more meat to it than the creme.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah. I mean that one has a completely different feel.
I need to bring a Caribe with me when I come out there this weekend, so that you could try that, because that is the new one. That's the Habano, and so it's right in the middle of the creme and the Black Forest.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they filled in that middle part.
Right.
I like the Caribe, but Yeah, I'll have to bring that out so you can have that.
Yeah, we'll give that a shot.
Yeah.
So no, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I think it's going well.
All right.
And you, what are your?
I like it. I'm down to the final third on this thing because again, I've just been sitting here listening and smoking, so I'm doing all right with it. But no, I like it. The construction's good, draw's great, burn line's straight. I'm getting those earthy notes they were talking about. I've been pairing it with a Fitz's Black Cherry Soda. And I will say that the sweetness of the black cherry with the cigar, it does pair nicely. I like it.
Awkward.
So, what?
I haven't had a black cherry soda since.
I'll tell you what. You know me. I'm not a soda drinker like at all. But for some reason, Fitz's.
You never even as a kid.
Nope.
Ever. I mean, you could count on probably one hand.
Yep.
Or two, maybe by now 2 hands because you're old. The numbers of sodas you've ever had. You never order soda ever. You don't like the fizz.
The only ones that I will, and it's not just the fizz, the flavor too. I mean, it's just one of those. Right. It's just not something I've ever liked. I've never had a Dr. Pepper. I've never had a Mountain Dew. I've accidentally drank Coke, but I don't think I've ever had a full Coke. It's been like a drink of one. It's that kind of thing. Root beer, same thing. I really don't like the taste of root beer. But
whose kid are you?
Yeah, I know. That's true.
Mountain Dew, I'll give you. Bah.
Yeah.
Root beer? Yeah.
Well, shit. You were a high school kid slinging root beer at the A&W,
I worked at a friggin' A&W. Man, I used to make that shit.
But
1,000-gallon tubs.
But Fitz's it's a St. Louis company, and they've got restaurants around. And I went to one, and they had a float, and it was black cherry soda with chocolate ice cream. And so I'm like, all right, I'll try this, And I'll be damned if I didn't really like the soda part too. So,
I'll be damned.
Granted, I get like a 4-pack at the grocery store, and it'll last me like 4 months, So, I mean, it's not like I'm going through this stuff like, rapid fire or anything. But every once in a while, it's nice. And I find that the black cherry tends to pair really well with a nice Maduro cigar. So, there you go.
I'll be damned.
Yep.
Right.
So, Villiger Entertainment Report. Have you been watching anything?
Obviously, IndyCar qualifications.
Well, of course.
We watched a movie called Wolfman.
Okay. Yeah.
The other night.
I saw that in the theater when it came out. Yeah, so I can actually talk about that with you.
Yeah, it came out in January, I think, of this year.
Yeah.
You paid money to go see that?
Well, I didn't really particularly want to, but I was seeing somebody at the time, and they wanted to see it, and so,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It was not good, in my opinion.
I think I read when we were watching it. I pulled it up on some Internet Movie Database or something. I think the production budget was like $25 million.
That sounds about right, because it was like basically in one spot in the woods.
Yeah, my opinion on that is somebody spent $1 million making the movie, and they took the 24 and split it across everybody who ran away laughing.
Yeah, it was.
It's like it was so predictable. It was camp. Yeah, I mean, it was what is it called? Body horror or whatever.
That's exactly what it was. It was straight up just body horror, and I don't get into that at all.
The wife was somebody that you think
she was so
in a weird. It's a hard adjective to come up to describe her other than obnoxious.
Boring. She was utterly and completely bored. She seemed bored making the movie. She was. Everybody talks about how great of an actor. She was not good in that movie. She phoned it in. I mean, at no point did I have any actual belief that she gave a shit other than just the fact that like she didn't want to die. But like at no point did she seem like she cared at all. She completely phoned it in.
Completely devoid of personality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah. All right. Good. You agree.
No, I was complaining about her as I'm walking out of the movie theater. I'm like, she was horrible.
I felt sorry for the daughter because now she's stuck with her.
Right.
And here's the question that I had at the end. Do you remember the ending where she and the little girl are walking?
Okay.
Through this
the valley.
Beautiful valley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Where the hell are you walking to?
Mm-hmm.
This valley had nothing in it. It was gorgeous vista.
Yeah.
I mean, mountains, and it just went on forever. Where in exactly the hell do you think you're walking with your little girl?
Not to mention the fact that you don't know where you're at. Your husband, who became the wolf man and died, he's the one that knew where he was at.
Well, he didn't die. She shot him.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, thank God for that. But yeah, I'm looking at that going, okay, you're in the middle of friggin' nowhere. You have no idea what's what, and there's nothing within sight.
Yeah, so let's take your kid for a hike.
Well, yeah, hey kid, you want to go walk for, I don't know, ever? But I even thought that ending was sort of like, yeah, okay, well, isn't that warm and fuzzy?
Well, at that moment she was now a single mother, so of course she was into hiking, because apparently all single mothers are. Based off of dating profiles, anyway. It's like, I'm into hiking and blah blah blah. And all that. So anyway, whatever. What the fuck?
So that was the only. I got nothing on that one. That was the only movie that I think we've had brought home.
Okay. I know you're not much of a movie theater guy, but whenever Sinners finally comes out, you need to check that out.
Why?
It's really, really good. I liked it a lot. It's set down in the South, and Michael B. Jordan, who played Creed in the Creed movies, he's in it, and it's like 1932, and so it's all these people, and they're coming together. They're gonna make like a little, like they call it a juke joint, but it's like basically like a nightclub for the black folks down there. And next thing you know, fucking vampires. And they're having to deal with that. And let me tell you, it sounds like you're sitting there going like, really? But it was a really good movie. The blues music in this is really good. It was a really entertaining movie. I liked it a lot.
All right.
So, for what it's worth, Sinners, whenever that finally makes it to, TV or the library or wherever it is you guys are getting movies,
the library. Yeah, she picks movies up at the library all the time.
Yep.
DVDs. And they seem to be getting new releases. So I was like, all right.
There you go. So
there you go. Check it out.
No, I'm still doing my King of the Hill binge. I just watched the one where Dale's dad came out as a gay rodeo guy to Dale, and that was kind of funny. Otherwise, yeah, that's all I've got. It's because I had Max this weekend. Yeah, and, right. So
you watch what he watches.
I would say there's the typical Clifford Thomas Storybots, trifecta, but we did a lot of other things this weekend that didn't involve TV, and that was fun. So
which is good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't need to be sitting around just watching TV all week. I mean, my God, it can only watch the same half dozen episodes of Storybots over and over and over, I mean, I don't know. So, yeah, it was good. But,
good.
But yeah, so no, I didn't get a lot of viewing in this weekend. And then when I was watching TV that Max was not interested in, I was watching the weather report, the local weather report, making sure that my house wasn't about to blow away. So,
right.
That was kind of it. But
interesting. I saw footage. There was a news coverage of a house in London, Kentucky, and it was just completely. The whole neighborhood was decimated. It was just flat platform, the foundation where the house was built on, and people were ruffling through their property trying to find belongings, and that's sad enough to watch happen. The news guy walked over there. He goes, "You see right here these cabinetries in the bathtub." He goes, "That's the bathtub where they all huddled in and hid during the tornado," and that was the only thing left standing.
Oh God!
Was the section of cabinetry, and the tub was right next to it. It's amazing. You look at that and you're going, how the hell could that have even been a real thing that you survived that? So yeah, keep an eye on the weather.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Well,
and
I don't have a basement or crawl space, so we're counting on my tub. So Yeah,
you're right. You're right. That's where you go.
So
no, other than that crappy movie and watching the usual schmutz, I've been watching. Anytime there's some paranormal caught on camera, or ancient aliens and shit like that, and yeah, I'm all over that stuff. I'm one of those guys. I like watching that ancient aliens, and I believe in all that crap.
Another movie that I watched the same weekend as Wolfman, ironically, called Presence.
Right.
That was okay. It was not. It's worth a rent. It was not. I don't. It was really kind of neat because it's a ghost in the house and you got the family and everything. But it's shot from the ghost perspective. And,
Interesting.
And what's neat is you can tell that they used a flying drone to film the ghost's perspective because it's like flying through the house and moving from room to room and all that and everything. And so you can kind of tell that they were using a flying drone to film that part. And just from a technical standpoint, I thought that was really cool.
All right.
But anyway.
All right. Cool.
There you go. Let's now move on and do this. It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars can't clip our wings. All right. So when Hurricane Harvey struck Texas in August of 2017, it dumped over 50 inches of rain on the Houston area, causing catastrophic flooding and leaving thousands stranded in their homes. Emergency services were overwhelmed, and that's when a group of ordinary citizens known as the Cajun Navy jumped into action. One of the key organizers was Todd Terrell, a businessman from Louisiana who had seen similar devastation during Hurricane Katrina. And rather than watch from afar, Todd used social media to rally boat owners across the Gulf Coast to help with rescues. Within hours, he and others coordinated hundreds of volunteers, fishermen, hunters, and regular people with small boats to drive into the storm and save lives. Using walkie-talkie apps and crowdsourced maps, they went street by flooded street, responding to distress calls. It was risky, chaotic, and exhausting, but they rescued over 10,000 people. So be like Todd Terrell and the Cajun Navy and Blackbird Cigars, and don't let anybody clip your wings. It's a little happier story than the last one of those that I did.
Cajun Navy is impressive, actually.
That's a pretty cool thing.
They assisted down in Asheville.
Okay.
They deploy themselves to any kind of a I don't know their geography, but they seem to be more southeastern focused. But those guys are always deploying themselves whenever there's some sort of a natural disaster. Those guys get in there.
Well, good.
It's impressive.
Hey, everybody's got to step up and do their part. I mean, we're seeing a lot of that just with the tornado. And I mean, shit, it's not the thing with St. Louis. It's mostly property damage. I mean, there were some deaths, unfortunately, but it's mostly property damage. But you're seeing ordinary folks stepping up all over the place around here. So, that I like seeing that. It's like, for as jaded and horrible as the world can be sometimes, every once in a while something comes along and proves that people can be nice.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
I augment that. I agree.
So there we go. Well, that's what I've got. I don't know. You have anything else you wish to contribute?
PulpitFest.
Yes,
buy your friggin' tickets, people.
Yeah,
what the hell are you waiting for?
Let's talk PulpitFest for a moment. Yeah. So tickets are still available for PulpitFest, and for those of you who listened to my episode with Sean, I've upped the ante. So basically,
I actually heard that this morning.
Yeah, and I thought it was a great idea. So
yeah, I thought that was
good. My old Kentucky Herf in Kentucky, they do this thing, and so I stole it, and I'm going to use it. So basically, if you buy your tickets for every month prior to PulpitFest, that you buy your ticket, that gets you an entry into a drawing for a box of cigars. And so if you buy your tickets in the month of May, that puts you May, June, July. That's 3 months. 3 months prior to PulpitFest. And so at that point, you get 3 entries. If you wait until June, you're down to 2 entries. July 1, and then August, well, you're pulling it right at the last minute there. But get your tickets bought and entered now. That way you can get the multiple entries, and you can have a better chance of winning the cigars. So head on over to eventbrite.com and search for PulpitFest 2025, and get in on the fun. Or I guess technically you can go to cigarpulpit.com. I have a post on there. There's all sorts of places you can find to find the tickets. It'll be fun.
Well, there's a lot of reasons you need to be involved. Don't forget about Vincent's Clubhouse.
Vincent's Clubhouse, exactly.
Portion of the proceeds will be a donation to Vincent's Clubhouse, which helps support the autistic and children in need of alternative excitement and fun in Flagler County.
Yep. And
they're energized and offering to assist with the event. So I think it's going to be a good time, and I'm serious. I would love to see a full house. The more the better with something like this.
There's a lot of listeners in Florida, you guys. It's like I'm bringing this to you. So and if you're not in the Palm Coast area, come on over. It's not that far of a drive from damn near anywhere in Florida, it seems like, and it's a nice little area. You'll like it.
Well, the thing too is I've noted you have your little cadre of cronies.
I do.
You have your usuals, and they mean an awful lot. That you've got your devotees, so to speak. It'd be nice to have new people.
For sure.
The only way you can expand something is if the reason vampires live forever is because they're always getting new blood. and the same thing with events. You need new blood in events for it to grow and continue and go forever. And the objective with PulpitFest is this year is bigger than last year. And last year is bigger than anything that occurred in St. Louis.
Yep.
And the more people involved and the more people who attend, the more we'll be able to accomplish. And it's not just a good time for you, but the objective going on is to make it a good time for a lot of more people and to bring more good. So, I don't want to sound like I'm pleading, but you got to be there for the price of admission. You're getting a 3 or 4 or 5 or 7-fold return. Actually, if you have $35 to get in, you get $30 back immediately with your first purchase, and you're getting a gift bag that's going to be in excess of $200 probably again.
Yeah.
And all kinds of wonderful times and fun and dynamic personalities. Trey Mack, for example.
Yep.
That's a bad example.
Well, no, but for the VIPs, you get the dinner on Thursday night with Renee Castaneda from Villiger.
Right.
So you get an exclusive. And find me a place right now. Anyway, tell me where I can go right now and have a nice sit-down meal and smoke a cigar at the same time. That's not something you can do in the United States these days. And so, we're going to have a nice sit-down cigar dinner with Renee on Thursday night. And then also for VIPs, you get the breakfast with Justo on Saturday. Justo Aroa from Aladino Cigars. Those guys are going to be at the event. So even if you just do the general admission, you're still going to get to hang out and interact with them and everything else. But if you do the VIP, you get the extra added bonus of the additional time and exclusive cigars and things of that nature. But nonetheless, either which way, no matter if you go VIP or general admission, it's going to be a wonderful time.
Well, and part of putting this together is, as you will know, is I looked at other cigar events around the country. And if you look at the price of admission for these other ones, price of admission is exponentially a lot more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And your time of exposure to people like Renee or Justo is minimal at best. You don't get one-on-one time with people when you go to these big events that cost you $250 a ticket.
Yep.
And what you leave with in those events that cost you $250 a ticket is often, from what I've seen, less than what you leave from PulpitFest for $35 admission. And I'm looking at this going, if you want competitive positioning and better value for your money, this is probably the cheapest and the biggest return and the most one-on-one exposure, because Justo is going to be around, Trey Mac's going to be around,
yep.
Renee and Hector is going to be there all day Saturday.
Yep.
So even if you're coming in with a $35 foot in the door as a general admission, you're still going to be talking to these guys. These are wonderful human beings who will talk to everybody and anybody and give as much time as they can because you're there.
Yep.
So look at the other events out there and compare it to what we've got going with this. And I think you'll agree that the better package, the better deal is having your ass in Palm Coast in August.
And you won't be trick-or-treating for cigars like,
No.
Sean, for example, talked about doing at the Kentucky Herf. That hurt my pride. I mean, like, if I don't want to go to an event that's like that, just because, again, you're standing in line for so long watching other people, buying stuff and everything. And then when you get to the table, yeah, you've got minimal time with the person, and the whole time that you're talking to them, it's all about the sell and whatnot. Whereas this, it's like you get to hang out. You get to we have games, we have fun. We're hanging out. It's a good time. It's a really good time. So, yep.
All right.
So PulpitFest, you guys need to get there, and you can do so by getting your ticket at eventbrite.com. So,
boom.
There you go. Well, Dad, thank you so much for taking time out today. I appreciate it.
Short notice, but I'm always there for you.
Well, I appreciate that.
No, it works out well. I was going to have a cigar this afternoon anyway, and this is just a bonus for me. So
perfect.
I'm glad we got the chance to do this and catch up. And I guess I will see you Saturday evening.
Yes, I was going to say in like 5 days or something. So
yeah,
yep,
good.
Yep. We will.
All right.
We will catch you then. So
you doing your socials on the back end of this thing?
Yeah, I'm going to do the socials on the back end of this thing. Because I don't have a button for the closeout music.
No.
I know.
I thought this was a well-oiled machine.
Well, it is. I do the interview, but then I do the bookends to tack on the front and back. So,
all right.
I mean, we can do the socials now, but then I'm still going to have to figure out, the music thing. So
no, I don't want to screw it all up. Make it hard for you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Well, for people that want to see some pictures from the track, from the trials and everything like that, they can catch you on Instagram.
Yeah, we have, and I even have a photo, unbeknownst to me at the time. I have a photo of the pole sitter.
Well, look at you.
It's the what is he? Number 83. Number 83. It's a white, red, and green car buzzing past a grandstand. So that's in my photos from the Indy practice.
And that's Curmudge Jim.
Curmudge Jim, correct, on Instagram.
On Instagram. There you go. You can go.
Yeah.
You'll see the pictures.
I have thousands and thousands of followers minus thousands and thousands.
You had an IndyCar photographer commenting on your stuff at one point, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Every now and then I get a comment from a couple of those guys. So yeah.
Wasn't there also some ladies club of Indy or something like that? That was.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I know. No, you see, that's what's creepy about Instagram. Somebody follows you or somebody likes your posting, and you click. I'm not an Instagramologist, all right? So I don't know this shit, and I click their name and it's like follow. They don't show themselves. I don't know who the hell these people are. God love them anyhow. They like my posting, but who exactly are you? But that one time this person liked it and I clicked and it's like some Indianapolis women's club. The hell?
Was that the pictures of your flowers?
Awkward. Yeah. Okay. Bugs and flowers or some shit.
See, they like the flowers.
It was funny though. It was like, oh, okay, I'll take it.
Hey, it's a like. A like's a like, So.
Oh yeah, and what exactly do you get for that?
Nothing.
Yeah,
at all.
Right. You're right.
You get that small dopamine hit of oh, somebody liked my picture, and then you move on with life. So
yeah, I guess that's it. All right, we'll go with that.
There you go.
All right. Well, I'm down to about an inch remaining here.
Okay.
And it's still holding tight, and it's still fun, and I can feel it getting a little bit. There's just a little bit more meat. To it now. It's not knocking my socks off, but you can tell that it's not what it was when it began. So
ramps up a little bit at the end, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's pleasant though.
I had to give mine up because I was at the point of either singeing fingertips or mustache, and I just that we don't need to do that. But no, it's a fine cigar. I like it, and then that's one of their just core line. They've got, like you said, the creme, and then the Caribe, and now the Black Forest. So
that ought to be their tagline. That's a damn fine cigar.
Damn fine cigar.
Villiger. You get that, Renee?
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll give you that one for free. So
yeah. Next one's going to cost you $5, but that one's for free.
$5.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, son.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You take it easy.
You too. Have a good week.
So I really want to thank my dad, Jim, for taking time out of his day to have a cigar and chat with us for a little bit. It's always nice to catch up. And hopefully those of you who are maybe interested in watching the race, maybe you're not a regular race watcher. Maybe you're a super fan. I don't know. But, hopefully you learned a little something and you're ready to watch the race on Sunday. In terms of the socials, I'm available on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. I'm on Twitter/X, and you can watch us on Rumble and YouTube as well as Spotify videos. So if you use Spotify to listen to the podcast, you also have the option of actually watching the podcast. I do need your calls for the Ask the Boys hotline. I have one call currently sitting there ready to be answered at this point. So give me a call on the Ask the Pulpit hotline at area code 863-874-0000. That's 863-874-0000. And make sure you get your tickets for PulpitFest. We're doing okay on sales there. I understand times are tight. Maybe people are looking at the travel costs and everything else and whatever, but trust me, if you're a cigar guy, like my dad said, if you're a cigar guy, you're going to get your bang for your buck out of this thing. It's going to be a wonderful time. So head on over to eventbrite.com and search for PulpitFest 2025. Head on over to cigarpulpit.com. The first post on the page talks about it and puts a little link there for you to get your tickets. There's a pinned post in the parishioners group. It's in my Instagram bio. You guys can find it. It's out there and available. So head on over to Eventbrite and get your ticket to PulpitFest and come join in on the fun with us. We're going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. Otherwise, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe and stay smoky. Take care, everybody.